Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Kazouza Hamra. I'm Nora, and in today's episode, we are sitting down with someone who is literally a triple threat. Not only is she a mom, she's an engineer, an educator, and a business owner. It's none other than Salsabiel. Welcome, Salsabiel.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, I'm so happy you're here. Thank you for accepting my invite.
Thank you.
And tell us about you.
It's so hard to talk about myself. Okay. I mean, you said it all. I am a first generation Egyptian American. And it's interesting. Like, I grew up, very typical households. Like, I'm the oldest of four girls. And, my parents were pretty firm, typical Arab. Like, my father was like, all four of you are going to become doctors. That was it. And I was like, maybe not. So decided to go into engineering school, but on the pre-med track. And just wasn't for me. And I worked in the ER. I absolutely loved it, but it just wasn't the life I was looking for. Finished through that. Got married, had 3 daughters. And then before I got pregnant with my first one, I still wanted to try the medical field. I did get rejected by medical school. I was like, let me just do nursing. Nursing is also great and the hours are a bit better, especially if I want to start a family. And I did it. I finished my 2 prereqs. I was about to apply, found out I was pregnant. I was like, you know what? This is a sign. Maybe the medical world isn't meant for me. I started doing private tutoring just for a little bit. Let me just make some extra cash. And then I was like, let me see if I can make this a career. Even though I said I will never be a teacher. I always said that. And the doors just kept opening. The school paid for my alternate route, my master's degree. I was like, how can I say no? And then here I am 13 years later as an educator.
Wow. So many people actually, I didn't even know this, but I follow you on Instagram. Obviously, I follow both your pages. And then we're also a part of an educators group in New Jersey. And then every time I see your picture, I'm like, this girl looks so familiar to me, but where do I know her from? And it turns out we work together.
Do you remember how we met? I remember. And I was just saying the story earlier.
Remind me again how we met.
I don't know why I was in the main building and I think it was like some sort of PD or something. And then I wanted coffee and I was like, oh, let me just get cafeteria coffee. And I happened to go in and they were closing up and the lunch ladies are all Syrian. I walk in, I was like, oh my God, I feel like I'm in Little Syria. So I'm just standing there and I remember you come in and you have very like light features in terms of I guess I didn't think you were Middle Eastern. And you just stand next to me and you're like, Assalamu alaikum. I'm like, oh, alaikum salam. And then you're like, are you new here? Do you work here? And then I explained where, I'm in the other building. And then you just started talking. And then you were like, where are you from? And then I said, I'm Egyptian. You're like, and then you just started talking about Egypt and everything. And it was I was just like, I like her.
Well, I love Egypt. I live there. I just love the culture, but generally speaking, I love the Middle East. My heart and soul definitely is always aligned with the Middle East. I love it over there. I would move to any country over there. I don't care if Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, Egypt, Dubai. Dubai is my second city. I've been there so many times, but I love it over there. I love our people.
My kids are half. So I'm Egyptian, their father is Albanian, but they are definitely, I don't want to say they prefer the Arab culture, but because they're always with me, they just love it. They learned how to be and they're just like, when are we going to Egypt? I miss Egypt. I like this. And I try to instill all of our culture into them because it's just hospitality, respect, fun. It's all in our culture.
Dunya. I mean, that is Dunya. Listen, I love Egypt. Shout out to Egypt, seriously. So take us back to your raised here. Obviously, with Kazouza Hamra, we're really focused on your experience in terms of identity, how you felt as being an American Egyptian. Talk about that. How was your friends' school life? Did you feel pressure to get married? Because I know I felt a lot of pressure to get married. Did you have the same experience? I'm curious to kind of know your story.
So my parents immigrated here. Actually, it's so interesting how we ended up in America. This is why everything is nasib. So my father was a successful engineer in Egypt. He's a civil engineer, had his own business. And then he was also on the wrestling national team. And then my mom got married. But before they got married, his friend was like, can you come with me? I want to submit an application to get a visa to come to America. And my father was like, okay, I'll come just to support you. And my father was like, hey, just for kicks and giggles, let me just submit an application. His friend got denied. My father got the visa. He got the visa. He had no intention coming to America. He's like, since I'm here, let me just fill it out. And then he got married and then he came to America a few months before my mom. And then I was born the year after they arrived to America. So of course, just like an immigrant, my father worked really hard to just raise us. And they have Like my mom had no one here. So she was a homemaker, took care of us all by herself. And me as a mother now, I don't know how she did it because I struggle and I really, like, I look up to her. Like without her, I wouldn't be where I am, honestly. So because we're first generation, we were alone and like they sacrificed a lot to come here. They were just like, you need to be a doctor. You need to be the top of your class. And I was always the top of my class. And I don't really know if it was because of pressure or because I just did my work. Like I was just that older child, that good child that just listened to everything that they told me to do. And that was it. I went to Islamic school until 3rd grade and then they shut down. And then my parents were like fearful putting us in public school because again, they don't have anyone here. And they're like, what's going to happen to our kids when we put them into public school? So I remember I started 4th grade in public school and my father forced me to wear the hijab because he felt, because it was part of our uniform in Islamic school. He was scared I was just going to get lost or something. And I remember I walk into class, I know no one because these kids have been together since kindergarten. I walk in 4th grade and I'm sitting at a table and I actually remember his name, Steven. He looked at me, he's like, are you bald? Do you have hair under there? And I'm like 7 or 8 years old at the time. So I remember going home and crying. I'm like, please, I don't want to wear this. I'm not ready. The kids don't understand. And then my mom spoke to my father. He understood. And that was it. The next day I went in like a 7, 8-year-old. I had my hair done and everything. And then public school was fine, loved it. And then 7th grade hit. That's when 9/11 happened for me. So the start of middle school. I actually just started wearing the hijab then because my mom threw me a hijab party. It's like, you know what? Let me try wearing the hijab. So I was 11, I think. And then 9/11 happened. And I started a new school. My parents moved a lot, so I moved to many schools. So I never really had friends when I was younger. And then I remember, school started September 3rd and September 11th happened. And it was really like people a teacher became really nasty towards me and ignored me, wanted nothing to do with me because of what they were seeing on the news. And I was starting to become depressed and I would cry to my mother, like, I can't do this anymore. Like, people are being so mean to me and I didn't do anything. But what is she going to do? And she spoke to the teachers and like, what are they going to do? Like, they're going to try to intervene, but kids can mumble under their breath. They can be very nasty. So I ended up transferring out of that school into another school. Didn't get any better. I was bullied really bad. This is before like anti-bullying, like rules and all of this stuff came out. And the kids I don't even want to say the nickname that they used to give me because it's really triggering, but they were really mean. No one wanted to be friends with me. And again, I transferred in the middle of a school year in 7th grade where we're transitioning. And I was like, I hate this. And I would cry every day. I had for months, students would mock me and make fun of me for being Muslim, for being a hijabi. I remember one teacher who's African-American, actually, she overheard a kid say that bad nickname to me. And she pulled him to the side, confronted him, addressed the matter, and that was the end of it. And I'll never forget her because I was like, wow, finally someone stood up to me. And then I went through high school, and then I actually ended up taking off my hijab my freshman year of high school. Mm-hmm. After I actually went to Egypt for the first time, when I came back, I had it off. I got my hair done over there. I was like, let me live my teenage years. I don't know. It was traumatic, my middle school years. But before I took off my hijab, I started wearing it in the back, in a turban. And I remember the cool kids started accepting me. I was like, oh my God, I'm finally accepted. I finally can have friends, but not thinking these are not real friends. They didn't want to accept me for who I am. And I remember I had my hijab regular and I went out with the cool crowd. We were out I grew up in Newark, so I forgot where we were. We were going to the mall or something, catching the bus. And I still remember her name too. She looked at me and she was like, do you mind just changing your scarf so you tie it in the back like you used to? Because it was almost like she was embarrassed to walk around in public with me when I had my hijab regular. And I was just like, okay. I guess I was at a really weak point in my life. And then I went to Egypt for the summer. I came back. I was like, I don't want to wear the hijab anymore. So all the rest of high school, unfortunately, it started getting a little better in terms of friend group because they were accepting me a little more. They weren't mean to me. And this is the same group that was mocking me in 7th grade because we moved up together. It was middle school and high school. And then, but I was always that shy kid that sat in the back of the room. I wanted nothing. I just wanted to go to school and back. That was it. And they also had this conception that we were really wealthy and we weren't because my father would come pick us up he was a limo driver. With the stretch limo, if he had a job, he'll come pick us up in the middle of his workday, drop us back home, and then go back to his job. So they just thought we were wealthy, and they just automatically just stopped associating themselves with me. And then finally, senior year, I started speaking up. And I remember speaking up about Philistine. There was something that happened, I remember, and I spoke to, actually, her name is Shauna, my favorite teacher till today. And she's the person, like, as a teacher, like, I hope to always be like her, because she was she always saw potential in me. And she was the principal at the time. And then I told her, I was like, I want to present to the school about what's happening in Palestine. And this was in 2006, 2007. And she's like, yes. And this was like maybe November, December, still early in the school year. And I did. I was so nervous. This girl that's always sitting in the back of the classroom, I come out and in front of the whole school, and I just present and I talk. And ever since then, it just gave me that confidence. I was like, why am I staying quiet? Why am I allowing people to just tell me what to do or be someone I'm not? And then I finished off senior year, and I graduated high school really young. So also my maturity, I graduated high school at 16. So also, yeah, a lot of the students were just more advanced than me, I guess. I don't know. And I graduated, I went to NJIT. And actually, that's when I started putting on my hijab. So I put on my hijab a week before I started NJIT. I was like, you know what? I think I found myself. So I had just turned 17. I was like, let me put on the hijab, and I think it's permanent this time. And I made a group of good Muslim friends, and they were Arab girls. And that was it. And till today, I graduated college 2011. And I still talk to them, and they're still my closest friends from college, because I felt like they just helped me see who I am. They helped me see that you shouldn't be ashamed of being Arab, because I really was. It was like when 9/11 happened, it was a really weird time for me too, like just going through puberty, and then I'm still first generation. I'm the oldest. My parents don't know what's going on. They don't know how to deal with this. I'm growing up by myself in that sense. So it was just like, oh my God, why am I ashamed? I shouldn't be ashamed. Like, I should be a proud Arab Muslim.
Right.
That was the start of me really committing to my hijab and being proud of my background, and then continuing on.
Well, I have a question for you. Let's say for someone in the audience who is struggling with hijab, what advice would you give them?
Sometimes I struggle with the hijab. Sometimes I wonder, like, hey, let me just take it off, only because, like, I want my hair down. I want my hair flowing. So sometimes I go through this struggle, but then I remember, I'm like, one, it's Islamic. Two, it's like, I always say this statement, and I can talk about the story as to why I say this. I cover my hair, not my brain. I think there's something so beautiful about modesty. And I'm not saying those who don't wear the hijab are not modest. No, they are modest. But if you're struggling with the hijab, you have to ask yourself, why are you doing it? Are you doing it for the sake of Allah, or you're doing it just because you just don't want to get your hair done? Like, it really depends. And it's a battle.
Or if you're being pressured to wear it.
Yes, especially in the workforce too. Like, I've had multiple times where I meet women in all sorts of fields who are not hijabi, and I tell them, yes, I'm an engineer. Yes, I'm an educator. They're like, and you wear the hijab? I'm just like, yes, I do. And these same women, they wore the hijab and took it off so that they can work, or so they felt like they would be more successful. And I always tell them, like, no, it's not. Because if you put Allah first, honestly, the hijab is easy. And now, especially now, there's so many people. Every time I watch TV, my daughter's like, Mama, look, there's a hijabi. Or billboard, look, there's a hijab. The clothes, this outfit is from Burlington, and it's modest. It's like, I can find so many like nice things now, like in terms of modesty. And the hijab, I think it's a beautiful thing, because I think like Muslim women are so beautiful. And then it's just like, if you're struggling, really just ask yourself, why are you doing it? And then when you do it, you just have to be confident. And that confidence comes in your heart. Like, I'm going to do it because I want to. Is it going to be hard? Absolutely. Will you struggle? Will you question yourself? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, I also have my daughters looking up to me. So it's just like my daughter started wearing the hijab by herself. I think she's too young, because she hasn't hit puberty yet. But she's like, Mama, I want to wear it. And I tell her every day, I'm just like, you're still little. It's okay if you take it. She's like, no, Mama, I love it and I want to wear it. So it's just building that love, that confidence, and knowing why you're doing it.
Well, I think also the representation wasn't there when we were growing up.
Yeah, so it was so hard. I was just like, I'm never going to fit in.
Right.
And actually, I was like thinking about it like before I came the past couple of days, because I knew it was like leading to me like talking here.
Yeah.
And just like what led me to education, because it's just like, it's been 13, I'm entering year 13. And then when I think about how everything just fell into place, it was perfect.
Yeah.
And it made me like reflect on me, like in middle school, and how I just had a terrible time because I just couldn't fit in. There was like I didn't have an adult in the building that stood by me. And even like when it was Ramadan time, the kids would just mock me like, hey, ha ha ha, aren't you hungry? Look at me eating the sandwich. Like there was never a safe space for me. And then I go into education and it's like, I think this was my calling because I have students that come up to me and I feel like I am their safe space. Like, unfortunately, in 2025, we still don't have too many females in engineering. But when I do, and then I get a Muslim, I have one of them who's a recent hijabi. I'm going to teach her again this year. She's so cute. And then she just loves to come and just sit and talk to me about just anything, about like her henna or the dress she's going to wear for Eid, or just like I'm that safe space. Or for like when they're all fasting, it works out with my schedule every year. I'm just like, you guys can come sit with me during lunchtime, and they take a nap. They pray. They can pray. I have that space, that safe space for them that I didn't have growing up. If there's anything that's culturally, like they feel like, especially with what's happening right now in Palestine, like if they feel like they're being targeted or just being a Muslim and they're being targeted, they're comfortable to come talk to me or to another teacher who's also a visible Muslim teacher. And it's just like, I think I was meant to be where I am now because I didn't have that safe space growing up, and I'm trying to provide it for others. Right. And just like, hey, it's okay. Like, as long as you put your mind into something, you can do it. And again, it takes me back. Like, we cover our hair, not our brain. We're still fully functioning. I think we're extra unique because we can speak more than one language. In our world, we have multiple dialects. Like,
I just spoke Egyptian dialect to you, which I never knew until I lived in Egypt.
Yeah. Well, I'm learning Syrian and Lebanese from my shows, the best shows.
La ya habibi. Well, I feel like going to the accent, Lebanese people, they're like singing like Shuyane.
That's so.
Syrian are like Shuyani. And then the Egyptians are like Zayani.
Yeah. Our Egyptian people think we're yelling when we're talking. It's like, no, we're just talking. And we're just loud. But I don't think we're loud. We're passionate when we speak.
Going back to the education part, I feel like as educators, obviously our role is to make every child, no matter where you're from, feel safe. Like my students in my classroom, I can't, even if they were Israelis, I would like protect them with my life. I would like, this is our role as educators. So I'm sorry that you had that experience that when you were younger, going through as a teacher is treating you differently as a result of, what's happening in world affairs and holding you accountable for it.
Even in the workforce, like starting off, like one, I'm a female, and on top of that, I'm a hijabi. So it's just like, and an engineer is just like, what? Like people's eyes, they're just like, what? You're an engineer? Like they just automatically assume that I just don't do anything. They're like, you don't fit the stereotype.
Well, I guess the stereotype is always that it has to be a man. But I mean, this is something for women, generally speaking, no matter what background you come from, start majoring in these STEM fields. Well, to me, as being an engineer, like doing something, building something, I would.
Well, you don't know till you try. Like, honestly, that's what led me to my DIY. So we bought a house.
Let's get into
2021, right? Yeah, we started looking, and we were just looking like crazy because we're just like, we have a timeline, and it was COVID time. So it was just like the prices of the houses were insane. Well, in terms of just like the battles between people. We hired a really good realtor, and we're like, we need to get a house. Like we were looking at 6-7 houses each weekend, like nonstop for a couple weeks. And then we had something in our head. We did have a budget, but our budget didn't fit what we could get at that time because it was prime time. Everyone wanted their own land, a house, everything.
Everyone's getting outbidded.
We got outbid by everything. And then the last house, we were one of 2 offers. And it was perfect, exactly what we wanted. And then they were like, well, our family friend, they offered the same as you, so we're just going to go with them. And after that, were just like, it's not meant to be. We're just going to rent the rest of our life, whatever. And then I woke up in the morning and I just opened the Zillow app one more time because that was just like on a regular, like just constantly on it. Opened it up and I saw the house that we're in now. It was just posted like yesterday. So I texted my realtor. I was like, hey, this was maybe 8 a.m. I was like, hey, what are the chances of us seeing this house? But it has to be before 3 o'clock. She's like, let me see what I can do. She was able to take care of it. And she was like, you guys, you can come see it. I think it was like 1 or 2. No, she said 2 o'clock. I think it was 2 o'clock. This was December. And then this was the only time I had my kids with me. I didn't have enough time to figure out where I can leave them so we can go see the house. So then we all go and we go in separate cars because my husband had to go to work. So we go see it and then we see a big sign. It says for sale by owner. And the realtor was like, oh, that makes sense. So I had to talk to him. He just paid to list the house on a realtor site or something. but he's selling it. And then, so we go inside. Again, the square footage, a lot smaller than what we wanted. And then we go inside and we're like, oh my God, it stinks. It's disgusting. There's no lights. It's dark. There was like one ceiling fan there. The fireplace was on. He had a bottle of wine open with a cup that was half drank from. And this guy was probably in his 70s. And we're like, hi. He's like, let me show you guys around. And we go in. It's just, it's not set up beautifully. Like, it's just like we would have walked away. Like any other person would have just walked away. But before I left to see the house, I actually prayed us and I made dua. I was like, hey, if this is meant for me, let me feel at ease. And if it's not, then it's not meant for us. And as soon as I walked into the house, I felt this sense of peace, but it was ugly. I was just like, oh, this is so ugly. But I was at peace. And then we walked around to the rooms and it was like, when I tell you clutter everywhere and just dark. And he had like 5 different $1 candles lit up. It was disgusting. And then we go out in the backyard and then I just see rocks. I was like, this is it? Like, it's just rocks, like small little space. And then he just keeps walking. So it was a massive property, just a shed. He just dropped it in the middle of the land. So it looks like the backyard ends like right where the rocks are. It just poorly set up. He made poor decisions in that house. And then we see it and my husband is just like, oh my God, this is like, I'm ready to go. Like, we're not getting this. And then I was like, no, we're going to get it. I see the potential. I know we can. And then we spoke with the realtor. We actually asked him, it's funny because we went through hell with that house with him. We're like, why do you want to sell? It's in a prime location. It's amazing. And this price point was really good too. And then he starts crying. He was like, I just got divorced and I want to leave back all the memories. We found out he got divorced because he cheated on his wife.
70, hey, no judgment here.
And then, so we tell our realtor, put in the offer, and we told him we're going to give you what you're asking for because we knew we had to put in money. And the inspector, like, we had to get the roof change, like big money had to come out. So like, we're giving you what you're asking for. So she calls him, this is a couple hours later, and then tells him we're putting in an offer. And then she calls me and tells me she spoke with him. He's like, he'll get to his email when he comes home because he's going out to dinner with the love of his life. It's like, okay, dude, he's living life. And then my husband, he was just like, if you really want this house, okay. Like, are you sure? It was like, we had these dreams, high ceilings, open concepts, over 2,000 square feet. We got the exact opposite of that. And then I started with the kitchen because our washer and dryer went out the second we moved in. We had to install spotlights. We had to change out our furnace. So like a lot of money came out after close. So, you go from broke to like more broke, like you have no money. So it's like, this kitchen is ugly. We don't have the money to redo it right now. Let me learn how to do it. So I YouTube how to prime, how to epoxy, sand paint the steps that go into it. It's like, oh, I like this. Let me redo this bathroom. And then I started working on like, I guess you could call them big or medium projects. And then furnishing, I discovered a liquidation store, which is still my favorite one in New York. And I would drive and I would be very patient for 2 years and buy like brand new Target furniture at a steep discount, like 50 to 70% off. And I furnished my whole house based on that. So I learned how to budget because, again, we have 3 kids in Islamic school, so we're paying tuition. Bought a house that we had to change the roof as well within that year. So there's a lot of money that went out. It's like, we can do some of the basic stuff, like furnishing, removing, like I removed carpeting on my stairs and I just updated it. I didn't have to hire someone for it. And just like really learning, because when you're really limited, and because I didn't grow up wealthy, we had to learn how to be resourceful. It's like, we can make it work. Nothing that a drill and some screws, some nails and a hammer can't fix.
Well, the best ideas typically come when there's a need, right?
Yeah. And the best ideas this makes sound crazy. I'm like, I would be just standing in the shower and just like, this is my next project. Or I wake up in the morning, I'm like, I know exactly what I'm going to do now. And I just go full force, which is crazy. But
I got into the whole room remodeling and I remodeled the entire downstairs. I got into a little DIY because one, I hired I had actually 3 contractors and got screwed by 3 contractors.
You have trust issues with them.
I like don't believe in contractors. So I had to start learning how to do certain things. Yeah, I remember I remodeled the bathroom downstairs. Then the contractor was starting on the bathroom upstairs. Not even 24 hours, his guys put a hole through the ceiling from the upstairs bathroom to the downstairs bathroom that was just newly remodeled. It was done. And I like just cried. I'm like, this is like ridiculous. Like I literally not even 24 hours. You already put a hole through my ceiling. So in any event, I got into the DIY where I put shiplap up in the ceiling. I started, of course, taking that hammer, just bashing those. It doesn't, it feels amazing, but it's exhausting. Picking that up, I love smashing this stuff, but I don't want to pick it up. It's exhausting. I mean, shout out to contractors, but like legit contractors who like do.
I don't go to the gym. It's like my workout. Like I'm just like, I'm done.
But I got into the whole, also like learn, I tiled one wall. I'll send you a video. I recorded myself doing it. But again, I like freak out because I mean, you have the engineering background. For me, like, I'm like, am I doing it correctly? Is it straight enough? Even though I have the laser leveler, and I'm just like, but I don't know. Is there too much space? Am I seeing things incorrectly? So I start second guessing myself. I'm like, this ain't for me. I can't do this. But DIYing could definitely be a lot of fun and learning all these things that we can't do ourselves. But the problem is the time.
It is. And that's why I've slowed down right now. Like I still have so many open-ended projects.
Well, that's my second question. How do you manage all of this? You're a mom, you have a career, you have a husband. You're like, how do you do all of it?
No, it's really hard. Like I can't say, and I don't want anyone to think I have it all and I do it all, because maybe like physically and I show like online that I do it all, but it's hard. Like I do have sisters. So if I do need help, like, hey, can you watch my girls for the day? I need to finish something. I do have that. And I know a lot of people don't. So I am very fortunate that I do have my sisters and my mom that are willing to help me when I can. But I think like I do have some anxiety. Like I'm pretty sure like I have undiagnosed anxiety. I like to keep busy because I don't like to
stand still.
And that's not something I'm happy about. I do get things done, but it's exhausting. And if I have something that's open-ended, it needs to be done, even if that means I don't sleep. Like as a child, I've come home. If I know I have homework, I can't do anything. I can't eat. I can't change. I can't do anything until that homework is done. Just like, I wish I could get rid of that.
Wish I had that, because for me, it's like that to a degree. But while I'm doing one project, I start thinking about another project.
Do that too.
That's like my ADHD brain. I'm like, oh, let me go do this. And I can't do this unless I go do that. And I can't do that unless... Now the whole house is
like my anxiety, my ADHD, and it's just like, but like at work, like I've also been teaching the same thing for several years. So I pretty much have it in the back of my head. So I'm not practicing a lesson beforehand like I used to. So when I walk in, I know exactly what I'm doing. So the mental load or stress of having to go into work or like teaching, because teaching was very stressful the first like 3 years for me.
Especially the school we work at. It's like, it's a real deal.
But because I am experienced in it, so work is not stressful in terms of like teaching the content. Like all the other stuff that comes with it, it can be stressful, like making sure students are on track and all of that. So that is one thing. But also like while I'm at work during my lunch break, if I don't have any grades to do, I'm like drawing out plans for stuff at home, or I'm doing my food shopping. I do pickup I'd have Instacart, or I do food pickup from ShopRite. I draw out my list. I go to work really early in the morning because that's just my like alone time. I sit in my dark classroom. I write out exactly what I'm going to cook for the week. And then I go online and then I look for what's on sale sometimes, like on the circular. I order what I need and I have my meal plan done. I order, and then on my way out of work, I go pick it up and then just bring it home.
Sit bit, mashallah alayk, mashallah.
But it's also this craziness in me. I can't function if I don't have certain things need to be structured for me. And again, it's a good and bad thing. Like I can't leave my house if my house is messy, which is just like, I'm going to kill myself, because like, not literally.
Yes. Figuratively, yes.
Yeah. But it's just like, I'm so stressed because I can't have dishes in the sink and this and that. And I don't know. One day, inshallah, I'll figure that out. But so I am organized. I have to give myself props to that. Like I have this planner that I use. I know exactly what I'm going to cook at home. I use my free time at work to do what I need to do at work, finish everything that needs to be done for work at work, and whatever time I have left, it's like, let me do the food shopping. If I need to make an appointment for me or the girls, or I have to figure out what I need to do with them. And then at nighttime, sometimes, or on the weekends, I'll work on a project. Like I've slowed down a lot because as my kids are getting older, they're more involved in sports and I'm getting tired. So it's like I'm taking them and back and forth. And so it's like my house, alhamdulillah, it's like pretty much done. Now everything is just like extra. So I only do it when I have some free time. So like the breaks or the weekends, like if it's really cold outside, and I'll get my girls involved. I don't like to show them on camera.
Yeah.
But still be involved with me so that they know, like with their room, they were involved in the design process when I made it all pink and I showed them everything. I try to be a good mother. I try, but also that mom guilt of like being a working mom and being busy. So I try to get them involved. Also, my kids are not super young where they're super dependent on me. So I can leave them. I'll set up an activity for them. We'll keep them busy for an hour while I finish painting a wall or putting something up on a wall real quick.
Well, what planner do you use? I'm curious.
It's called Uncalendar. Yeah. It looks like a shady website. The calendar is so ugly. Like, it's so ugly. Like, aesthetically, it doesn't match me. But it's the only planner that works for me. I've used it for, I think I'm going into year 7, maybe using it. And it's not dated. And it has like a little portion of like things to do, what needs to get done this week. And then I'm able to like break it down, like what I need to get done for work, personal life, or my kids. And it works.
Well, walk us through the process, because I'd like to think as myself as organized, but I'll be honest, I am more organized at work than I am at home. So what advice would you give someone like me, and there's somebody in the audience who struggles with being on top of organizing and finding time to order the food, to plan out the meals?
It took me years to get to where I am. Like, my third child was, after having her, I was just like, I have to figure out something that works for me. And she's almost 7. So it took me, and my oldest is almost 11. So it took me probably 5 to 6 years to figure out something that really works for me. Because people would give me advice. And it's like, it's not, or like bits and pieces of their advice would work, but I couldn't find a system that worked for me. But what really works for me is, like, every Friday is when I do my food shopping. It just worked for my schedule. It worked. I just found a day that works for me that I can do food shopping. So I make my list Thursday, and I'm like, if I need my shopping to be picked up Friday, I need to make sure I have the list done the day before, because you have to reserve a time slot. So sometimes I'll go to AI, ChatGPT, and it's like, I need some meal plan ideas. Here's my protein. Here's my veggies. I need a week's worth of dinner for 2 adults and 3 children. And it would just give me ideas. And I would say, maybe I want a Middle Eastern recipe here, or I want a Spanish recipe. And it will just give me ideas. And that's how I would make my recipe. And I have like a whiteboard. I'm like crazy. I have a whiteboard on my fridge, and I'll just write out what I'm making for dinner. And then so that way, like when I wake up in the morning, I take out whatever protein needs to be defrosted. So when I come back home, it's like, okay, I just need to throw it in the oven, the skillet, whatever needs to be done. I also live on the Instant Pot. I love the pressure cooker. Like, if it doesn't go in the pressure cooker, there's no meal. So even I make more. I make bisilla in there. I make all my rice. You guys say malfouf. Well, you say wara'anab, and all of the traditional Middle East. I put it in there and I walk away, because my kids are like, I need help with homework. I need this. And the food is going to burn. I hate the kitchen. I hate cooking with my entire life. I hate it. But it's survival, and I try to be healthy. So that is really finding a day for food shopping, and make enough so that you have breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, whatever it is. Because I also don't like food shopping. Like, who wants to go to the supermarket 2-3 times a week? No one has time for that. And then meal prep the night before, like in terms of the list, what you want to cook. So at least that's out of your way. Your house stuff is done. And then I do like a major chore a day. So like laundry, which is usually a Sunday, because I just can't get to it. It's clean. It's just a mountain. I just need to fold it.
I hate laundry.
It's just, it keeps reproducing. I'm like, I don't understand. I just put stuff away. I just washed 5 loads.
Well, with kids, I mean, my kids, sometimes they change 3-4 times a day.
Yeah, so I do a major chore a day. Like, I do the tidying up. That's every day. But like, I'll also get my kids involved. So if you have like older kids, I'll have them like clean one bathroom. Is it perfect? No, but I go and I teach them, because it's like, you need to start taking over. But I'll do like one bathroom a day. I'll maybe do laundry. Like, I'll load the laundry, like washer, dryer, and it stays downstairs. And then the folding is on a Sunday. So I don't overwhelm myself. If I know I'm going to have a busy day with the kids' sports, I do nothing in the house. Like, it's just going to be tidy up. We're going to do homework. We're going to come eat. I usually plan my meals around sports events. So we'll do like mini burgers or chicken nuggets and fries, like something that can be thrown in the air fryer that's really quick.
I know you're saying you have anxiety, but you present so calm and collected.
Because inside here is crazy.
Well, no, you're very calm, and you have such a soothing voice. Have you ever been told that before?
I have.
Because you have a very, very just, mashallah.
My kids don't think that. They're like, Mama, you're always yelling.
It's very calming. Well, I want to ask you a question regarding religion. How do you stay on top of your deen? Like, are you making sure you pray 5 times a day? What advice do you have for someone like me who struggles?
I struggle. I still struggle. No, I still like, I always tell people, I'm like, don't look at me as an example of the perfect Muslim woman because there's no such thing. And I tell that to my American friends, people at work. I'm like, because people have come up to me and have asked me, and they would compare me to someone else. And they're like, why do you dress this way? And this other person dresses this way, but you're the same religion. So, like, I'm just like, don't use me as an example. I'm on a different, like, I have my own battles. That other person has their own battles. We don't know what they're going through. Like, I try to remember, like, prayer has always been a struggle with me. And I think it's because the way I was raised, it was forced on me. I don't think my parents, it was mainly mainly my father. Like, he just was, I think he just was really worried that we would get lost in the American culture and forget our Egyptian culture and Islam and everything. So it was always just like, you have to pray now, or this is haram, don't question me. There was never like, hey, let's sit down, let's talk, let's understand what's happening. So like, I've always struggled because it's like, all right, I'll get up and pray. And then I remember like, it's just, I have to do it. But then when I got older in college years and I met my Muslim friends and I was part of the MSA, and when I finally felt like I'm keeping my hijab on. My friend actually was diagnosed like shortly after getting married. She was 24. This was 2011, 2010, 2011. I can't remember exactly. But I remember like we went snowboarding together. We would hang out occasionally. We were the same major. So I was either with her or her husband at the time. Like they were still engaged. We would be in classes together, and they were Egyptian. They were like full, like very Egyptian. So I loved hanging around that and hearing it and just seeing it. And she was on the tennis team and everything. And then they finally got married. They had this beautiful love story. They finally got married, and then she was pregnant. And then while teaching, she just like dropped, like her body just went numb. This is what I heard. I don't like different stories in that sense. Like half of her body just went numb, went to the doctor, went to the emergency room and everything. They found a brain tumor that was cancerous and they couldn't operate on it. She ended up having to like, they had to force like an abortion so that she can, I forgot the exact reason, whether it was because the radiation she had to do or something, but she couldn't continue her pregnancy. She went into a coma for a few months, and then her brain was finally dead and they had to pull the plug. And then after that, I was like, she was only 24. I was like, oh my God, life is really short. And that was the way, because I was there in the room because I worked in the hospital at the time. I was pre-med, and she was a couple years older than me. And I remember Sheikh Qatani was there making dua, and there was like 25 people in the ICU just standing there. And I'm like, it's like life is short. And that was the first time I was just like, I really need to, even like before I worked in the ER, I remember seeing my first person pass away. I was like, I need to go pray. Like that's just the first thing that came to me, because it's like, if I die right now, I don't think I'm dying in a good state. So that's really what woke me up. And I still struggle now. I still struggle. You know, I like to have nail polish on sometimes. And I know that, you know, you can't pray with that. So I still have my struggles with that. And honestly, my daughters, they push me and I think it helps because they're in Islamic school. They're like, Mama, we need to go pray now. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. And I have the adhan clock that's always going off. I'm like, what's my excuse? So do I pray on time all the time? Absolutely not. Is it a struggle that I have? Yes. But I know deep down, like, it's what brings me peace. When I had really bad anxiety, like I couldn't function like a couple of years ago, I was going through a really bad time. I just prayed and I cried in Salah and I just made dua. I'm like, please help me with my anxiety. Just whatever I'm going through, just help me. And then it helped.
Surah al-Duha for me, anytime like I'm feeling really down, I go to that surah and I read it.
Like sometimes, especially like Omar Suleiman's lectures, like Ramadan, I love Ramadan. I'm actually like genuinely sad when Ramadan ends, because it's the one time where I'm just like, and I'm sure many Muslims are the same way, where like the Ramadan Muslims is like, I'm going to be fully committed. I read the Quran. I do everything outside of Ramadan. I struggle. And Omar Suleiman, every time I listen to his lectures on my way to work, because it's a quick, like 7-8 minutes on the podcast. And I'm just like, wow, that was so powerful. And this past Ramadan, he was talking about the barzakh, like the life in between, like life and death. And it put me at ease because like everything that's happening in Gaza and like close people to me, because I've had so many people pass away that are young, like my age and younger. And I'm just like, okay, that put me at ease. And just listening to something Islamic once in a while kind of brings me back, because like this dunya is like, it's temporary. It's like, we're going to live here in this dunya. It's temporary. But then the akhirah is eternal. So like, which one are you choosing? The temporary life or the hereafter where it's just like it's eternal.
Well, they say and again, I'm not a philosopher or anything, so don't quote me on all this, but like the soul knows this isn't it, but the body knows this is it. And it's like these two are at a constant battle because the soul knows like,
It's like the mind and heart.
this is just temporary. We're here and we're going to be out. But then the body is like, this is all I have. So I guess, yeah, the mind and the heart going back and forth with each other have this kind of debate as like, okay, I'll pray later. And then later becomes 2 days, and 2 days becomes 3 days, and then 3 days becomes 4 days.
All I can say is just don't stop. Just like if you wake up one morning, just pray. Just like pray Fajr. If you miss Dhuhr, you miss Asr, it's like, okay, I'm going to get up and pray. Like, I feel like we shouldn't beat ourselves so much or tell ourselves that we're not good Muslims for missing Salah. Because I think that's how I grew up. Again, first generation, trying to figure out that balance of the American culture and the Middle Eastern and Muslim culture. It's like, no, you have to have love for it. You have to like we make mistakes. And this is why that's why Allah favors humans over angels, because angels are perfect. They don't make mistakes. But we have to fight through and push through to make it to Jannah, inshallah. Like if you're not making your every prayer, make the intention like, you know what, I prayed Fajr today. Or not even Fajr, you woke up in the morning and prayed it because you missed the morning. And then make the intention, you know what, I'm going to pray Fajr every day this week. The following week, let me add an extra prayer. Let me add the sunnah, like just something like, don't go full force like, I'm going to pray 5 times a day. Like you're going from 0 to 100. Like if you've never prayed before, like I'm going to pray 5 times a day on time, all the time. It's great. But if you're somebody that's always struggling, you're going to exhaust yourself really quickly.
Right. Well, I think we put ourselves under a lot of pressure. So there's a lot of guilt our people carry with us. Like we carry a lot of guilt. So if we miss prayer, we're not praying, or you committed
a good Muslim,
or you committed a sin and you're like, oh my God. Have you ever heard, and actually I unlearned this when I was in Egypt. I always believed that, or at least I was told to believe that if you drank alcohol, then Allah will not accept your prayers for 40 days.
Yeah, that's true.
Is it true? Because when I was in Egypt, I learned the opposite. I learned that not that encouraging, you should not be drinking. That's like haram, yes. But that you should always pray, not wait 40 days. Because by doing that, they said, I forgot how this person explained it to me, but it was such a logical explanation. They said people entered our religion and started encouraging Muslims by saying these little things to get them not to pray. Because if, let's say, you commit the sin of drinking and then you don't pray 40 days, now you've established a new habit. And that new habit now will go with you because you're more likely not to pray now after those 40 days. So it's like something that entered the religion but isn't really a part of the religion. But I guess we'd have to maybe ask Sheikh Omar Suleiman, which, by the way, I totally make dua for that man all the time. May Allah bless him, and I love that man. But we'll have to ask him, I guess, to see if what's true, because this is what I unlearned this in Egypt. And I guess for me, my advice to be for anybody who does haram or is struggling with prayer is do your best. Even if you do the haram, still pray, still pray, still pray, and still pray, because you never know what that prayer is going to do for you. Because if you leave 40 days or you leave it for, 90 days, Allahu Alam, what's going to happen, because you're more likely not going to pray again.
I just want to make sure, Salah is definitely that is very, you definitely is a fard. And if you miss one, it happens, we're human, but it takes work, it takes time. It's a habit. You have to build that habit 5 times a day and really make it a priority. I'm guilty of this. I would sit down, I'm in the middle of maybe booking an appointment for something, or I'm grading something, and the adhan goes off and I'm like, I just got to finish this real quick. And it's and then an hour, 2 hours pass, the next salah comes in. So it's something I'm battling, something I want to work on. It's as soon as I hear that adhan, I should stop what I'm doing. Right? Because it takes 5 minutes. It really does. If you really think about it, I spend hours editing a video. It only takes 5 minutes to pray a fard. So it's everything else can wait, but the salah can't. So it's just really conditioning your mind, and it's a struggle. I struggle with this too.
May Allah accept our prayers, and may Allah put us on a path to start praying. I think one of the things you mentioned, having the adhan go off.
It's an event called Masjid Al. Actually, the graphic designer for it was Ghazawi. Unfortunately, he didn't make it, and so he passed away. It's a little pricey, but it's worth it. It's worth it. It's so worth it. And they have little rewards for kids. I added my kids' names, and they get to give themselves a trophy if they make a salah.
But I'm talking about in the house, having something.
Yeah, it's a screen. It looks like an iPad. We have it hung up, and it's touch screen, and it goes through the Wi-Fi, And it, like in the morning, it'll give you like afkar, or like when, you know, they'll like show the quds sometimes, or like for Friday, it'll give you, and they plays the Quran. It was like, reminder, read Surah Al-Kahf. And then you can press play, and I just have it reciting, or the dua is in the morning. I just press play, and then it's just playing in the background.
Well, you will definitely have to share that, and I definitely will link it below for people because it seems like an awesome thing to have. Yeah. No, I think having something in the house, and that's something I don't have in the house. Like I have to like physically go to the computer, I'm gonna go to the TV, look for a surah and play it. But again, sometimes I'm so busy, I'm not doing that every day. You know, it's usually sometimes when I feel a little off, I'm like, okay, maybe Surah Al-Duha, because I love that surah. I go listen to that, Surah Al-Kahf, sometimes Thursday night into Friday. So, but I'm not consistent with it. And I think that's where I struggle for myself. Something I can incorporate, at least it's in the house, and you know that the energy is flowing and the vibe is in that frequency. So tell us about you and your husband. How did you guys meet? When you got married? I'm like totally into you. I want to know the tea. How old were you when you got married? Did you feel pressure to get married? Was it an arranged marriage?
So it's funny. My parents wanted to marry me off since I was like in high school, like 16, 17. They would just introduce me to people. I'm just like, ew, like, no. I had no interest like in getting married. I was like, I want to get my college degree. I'm probably going to go to med school. Like, I don't have time to think about that. Like, I'm just not interested. So I went to NJIT, studied engineering. There's a lot of Muslim men. And when I went there, I was just like, nothing is piquing my interest. I'm just going to continue studying. I started working in the ER. Lots of Muslim Arab doctors wanting to get to know me. And it's like, no, not interested. Or patients, like the moms, they're like, what's your name? I have a son. Like, these are patients trying to connect me with their sons. Like, no, I'm not interested. So then I went online, actually, and this was in 2011. So some Muslim dating site, I don't even remember the name. I was like, I went to college with majority men. I worked with a lot of men. There has to be more in the pool because nothing is piquing my interest. So I went online. I didn't have a profile picture. I said I lived in a different state, lied about my age, because back then it wasn't a thing. I was like, I don't know who's on there.
Do you remember the name of the site? I feel like I remember this.
No, I don't even know if it's still in existence.
But I remember something vaguely about a site.
I remember it was a Muslim site.
Yes, I remember vaguely.
So then I would just like scroll and it's like, whatever, I don't see anything. And then I don't know if it was me or my husband that I forgot. I don't even remember. I think if you can see if somebody viewed your profile, I don't remember how that happened, the exchange between him and I, like who saw who first. But he had messaged me and then we started talking. He's like, can I have your Gmail account? Like that was the thing, like the chatting, because this was like through the website and it was just like weird. So then I got off of the website and then we started chatting on Google Chat, which I've never used before until he told me. And then he asked for a picture, which makes sense because he's talking to a blank screen. And it's just like, so I shared a picture. I was like, by the way, I lied about everything. I actually live in New Jersey because he's from New York. I think I was 20 at the time, but I had said I was like 24 because he's 9 years older than me. So we just talked on the Google Chat for like a little bit, but we connected. But again, it's just chatting. You don't like really think much of it. He was like, can I have your number? I was like, sure. He was like, I have to go drop off my cousin somewhere. Can I have your number? So I was like, sure. So then he texted me and I think we spoke on the phone that same night or the following day. I can't remember exactly. We talked every day. He was a morning person. I still am not a morning person. I have to force myself. He would call me every day on his way to work, like 6:30 in the morning. And then after a week, he's like, I really want to like meet up with you. I want to see you. And my husband's actually Albanian.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that earlier. And shout out to Albanians. Let me tell you, there's something I have with Albanians. Any Albanian I meet, I hit it off with.
Also, they're sweet. And so we met up at a restaurant in Patterson. Actually, my mom, she was in the hospital because her health was like okay. It's like I was like kind of blowing him off. I was like, whatever. I wasn't even dressed nice. I was like, whatever. We'll just meet up for lunch. But I have no hopes because, again, I was just focused on school and everything. And I remember I pull in, and my husband's 6'1", pull in, and I see him in this tiny little car, and I see this giant walking out. It's like, oh my God, he's so good looking. He's not going to be interested in me. So we go inside the restaurant, and then actually before we met up, I was like, so we're just going to go out to eat? Like, are we going to do anything after or anything? He's like, we'll see. And then we go and then we order, we're eating. And then before you know it, 3 hours passed. I was like, I need to go. I need to go home. And this was daylight time. He's like, you sure you don't want to go? I have to buy a few things from Patterson to take back home. We can walk around this. I was like, nope, I got to go. And then we just clicked. We continued. I was like, he's never going to call me again. I was just like in a mess. I was a mess. I was just like, he's never going to call me again. So a few hours later, he texted me saying, I had a great time. It was so nice. Like, when can I see you again? I was like, what? And then we just started like talking a little bit more. He introduced me to his family, which for us, I was like, I'm not introducing you to my family. That's just like a no-no. Like, no. And then I graduated that May. So this was in March. I graduated in May, and he sent me this massive bouquet of flowers to my job. And I was like, oh my God, like, my parents didn't know anything yet. I did tell them later on. So I was like, it was just like a present from the doctors. And then we continued talking. This was May. And then I was like, hey, I don't date. Like, yes, I met your family. We talked. We went out a few times to get to know each other, but I don't date just because, like, it's for the intention of getting married. And I don't see that coming from you at all. So I don't think this is going to work out because I don't see it. He's like, no, I do. I'm just waiting. Like, just wait. And I was just like, whatever. Like, we got into an argument. I was like, I'm not going to keep dating. Like, that's just not me. And then I had one extra semester. So I walked in graduation in May, but I wasn't going to get my diploma till like December. I had one class to take. And then I finished. I passed my exam. I got my grades. And then I told him, he's like, I want to take you out to this like nice fancy restaurant. It's like, okay, we'll go out to celebrate. And then he takes out this ring. I was like, what are you doing? And he was like acting weird. He like takes out this ring. And that's the first thing I said, like, what are you doing? And then he's like, I'm proposing. And I'm like, this is not what we do. Like, the Arabs don't do this. I was like, my parents don't know about you. Like, you need to, do you want my father's number? Like, hold on, I messed up the whole thing. It was such a beautiful, like, scene.
But is that how, I'm sure Albanians have traditions.
Yeah. But like from what I've seen, like, they'll propose, but the families know each other. Like me, I was so scared to tell my family. I'm the oldest. I don't know how to break it to my parents. Like, hey, I have this guy that I know. He wants to propose to me. Like, I had no idea how to go about that. And then I was like, you want my father's, I can't take this ring home. Like, what are you doing? Like, it was so.
Imagine that scene. You just pop up at home with a ring.
And there's people watching. I was like, and then I put it on and I took a picture. I was like, I have to give this back to you. Like, I can't go home with this.
Hey, we have to get that picture.
So then I told my father the next day. My father is a character. So I told him, an Albanian wants to come ask for my hand. And then it just happened. So like, we met in March. We had our engagement. So he came and talked to my parents in December, and then we had our kitab in January of 2022. Yeah.
No surprise. Well, your dad was very like open to it right away, or?
Yeah, he was. They were just like, okay, finally, like, we just need to, like, yeah, get you married. So it wasn't forced or anything, but I think it was a sense of relief. And I think being first generation and like, as a girl, like, my parents felt like they just wanted to make sure we are going to be well without them.
So I have a question for you. What is one stereotype about Arab women you would like to see completely eliminated?
People don't think we're smart. I don't know why. Like, that's the sense I get when people meet. Like, I shock them when I do things or talk about things. They just don't think we're smart because they have this conception like, yeah, you're oppressed because they see us, we're just covered. And then a lot of women choose to be homemakers, and there's nothing wrong with that, to take care of their children and raise them. And it's like they just think we're just not capable of doing anything outside the house. And that's not true. I think some of the smartest people I know are Arab women.
So you being an engineer, you kind of spoke on this already, having different expectations when they see you're a hijabi, you're a woman, and here you are as an engineer. Do you have any specific examples that you've run into where someone has changed their mind, maybe treated you differently at first, but then saw how intelligent you were, how you work, and then they were like, oh, and said, I'm wrong?
I don't know if they ever, I've never experienced something where they come back and tell me like, you were right. Or maybe they felt that way, but they never like expressed it. But years ago, I worked with an individual. I was probably 6 years his senior. He was brand new, and it was probably my third year there. It was his first year there. And every Friday we had professional development. I like to go in before it starts, grab a table, sit, just decompress from teaching before we start our meeting. So I'm sitting at the table. A history teacher comes in, sits with me. He's cool. I get along with him. Then this kid comes in. And we always had issues just because of his background and everything, where he comes from. He was very, very proud that he's from Israel. And that's okay. Just don't come pick at me. Like, you're from there. You were born there. Okay. Like, why are you coming at me? So he also wears a religious covering. And then he was like, I want to ask you something. I was like, sure. He's like, did you wear that thing when you came to interview? I was like, my scarf? I was like, why wouldn't I wear my scarf while I'm interviewing? He's like, well, because I removed I think he called it the kippah. He was like, I removed it because I was worried that they weren't going to hire me. So I looked at him, I was like, if a workplace asks me to remove my religious covering, then it's not a place for me because I cover my hair, not my brain. And I just remember he looked at me, got up and walked away. And that was the end of it. He ended up not coming back the following year, which was great for everyone. But, and it's just like, why? So in a previous school, when I reached the final stage in the interview, I had the person ask me, do I actually know how to use machinery? Like those were his exact words. And it's like, wow, like people just automatically see me. I've seen people like when I talk to them on the phone, the first stage, the first interview, it's great. And then as soon as I come in for the second interview, they see me. They literally pause when they see me and they take a seat. And I know the interview is basically done. They're not interested. Because once they see me, and it's just like, why? And I just continue to push through. That was just like fuel to my fire. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to keep proving to you that I'm capable of doing this job just like anyone else and probably better.
All right, everyone. It is now time for our Yalla Let's Pop segment, which is when I hit you with a lightning round of a series of questions and you have to answer them. So let's pop the soda first. Bismillah. Drink.
Before I made a little NFC tag. So Kazouza Hamra. So I never even knew that was like the term. Kazouza is like soda, right?
Kazouza is soda, yes.
I don't even know I think Egyptians just say soda. I don't even know.
Well, yes, you guys are very modern. I'm from Halab. I think only Halabiya call it Kazouza.
This is supposed to look like a soda can. So go ahead. So if you open it, and then I can give you my phone.
This is so cute. Look at this. So it's like one of those things that I put to someone's smartphone.
Yes, it's not just a keychain. You got to see it. So it doesn't matter. Right? And then.
Oh, wow. Look at that. Well, I'm definitely doing this. So what I can do is like randomly like go to the mall.
So I leave it with my like Lululemon that I wear. And I'm just like, and if somebody were talking about a song, I'm like, here, you can follow me.
I love this. Yeah, it's cool. Or you could just walk up to random people and just like put this up by their phone and you just like, why is this girl's Instagram just popping up? But I love it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Merci, Habibti, merci.
You're welcome.
All right, so you ready for this? So, Abdul Halim Hafiz or Kulthum?
Kulthum. I know no songs with Abdul Halim.
Oh, I know one. فاكر باللي ناسيني وناسي المفكر.
If I have to listen to classical music, it's Kulthum.
Kushari or tamia?
Well, we say falafel in Skinderia, but I say kushari. I love kushari and all the heartburn that comes with it.
Do you know any good places here? I heard Jersey City has a spot.
I heard, but I just make it myself. Like mine or my mom's. I haven't had it in America, actually.
You don't believe it or not?
I'm like, I had lunch for.
Despite that I've lived there, I never tried it.
Oh my God, kushari in Egypt. Our first day there, we hired a tour company. After visiting the pyramids, we had kushari. I was like, this is the most Egyptian thing we can do. Pyramids and then kushari.
Yeah. It's like a protein carb overload meal, but I definitely want to try it. Your favorite Egyptian artist right now?
It'll always be Tamer Hasni. Like every girl's man crush, but he's so good.
Not most iconic Egyptian song that still gives you chills.
Gives me chills. I don't know if it gives me a chill. Like no song gives me the chills, but I love Nancy Ajram's like first album because that was the first time in Egypt. Like Habibi Allah, basil.
Best memory of visiting Egypt?
I think there's a lot. Every time I go to Egypt, it's just so nice. But I think this past summer I took my kids for the first time, and they loved just seeing them smile. From the minute we got to Egypt until the end, it was just so beautiful to see. Like I just loved spending time with them there.
All right, do you prefer Cairo nights or Alexandria mornings?
Skinderia all the way.
Your favorite Egyptian dessert, basbousa, kunafa, or something else?
So I love mango kunafa, and I think that's the only Egyptian thing I had in Egypt. Oh my God! But higazia. It's called higazia. I don't even know how to explain it. It looks like basbousa, but not. It's like cinnamon, butter, sugar, and it just melts in your mouth. And when I go to that bakery in Egypt, I remember this past summer, I was like, I want 15 boxes. He looked at me. He's like, you must not be from here. I was like, no, I'm taking them back to America. I need more.
Is it different than harissa?
It is. It's something that I haven't found in America. I tried to make it myself at home. Nope. So anytime anyone goes to Egypt, I still have some frozen in my freezer. I might take some out tonight.
One thing I always miss from Syria is sahlab. You don't really see sahlab here a lot.
No. Some of the Arabi dessert spots have it, but I don't know if it's that good.
I've seen it here in a packet, like one of those like packets you mix.
Oh, yeah. No, but I've seen like they actually make it for you.
Maybe, I guess, well, South P has definitely like added so many different things, so it's possible that it's there for this dessert. Who's the first Egyptian woman you looked up to?
Oh, my mom. She was the first person I saw, first person. When I became a mom, I definitely became closer to her because I realized like she was the way she is when we were younger to protect us. And now me as a mom, I'm like a mini version of her, or at least I hope to be.
What is one Arabic phrase you use all the time?
I'm like, let's see, what do I use? I don't know if it's a phrase. It's just a word like best or la.
WhatsApp voice note or text message?
Voice note.
So I like voice notes too.
Faster, easier.
What is the one Arabic dish that you still can't cook?
What is it? What like the cabbage, the stuffed cabbage. I'm terrible at it. Anything that's Harabi that requires like you to like roll and prep a lot in advance. Nope.
What is one dish that you can't live without?
It's not a dish, but coffee. I can't live without coffee. I'm not a foodie. Like I'll eat food if it's in front of me, but I'm not a foodie. But coffee, can't live without.
Do you prefer reading or writing?
Neither. If I have to choose, I'll write. Reading more than 2 sentences is overwhelming for me.
Now, if your life story was a book, what would the title be?
Against All Odds.
Ah, I love it. Against all odds. Okay. Last question. If you had to pick one Kazouza flavor that you would drink for the rest of your life, which one would it be?
I think lemon lime.
All right. That's all the time we have today. Thank you so much, Salsabiel. And where can people follow you if they're interested in following your page?
Will you DIY?
Yes. All right. I'll definitely link it below for you guys. Thank you so much. Until next time. Bye.